The Bank of Canada raised its key interest rate by a quarter percentage point, marking the first interest rate change since the central bank announced a pause earlier this year. The rate now sits at 4.75%, the highest it has been since April 2001. The Bank of Canada says its governing council has determined interest rates are not high enough to rebalance the economy and bring inflation back to the 2% target. The decision comes after speculation amongst economists and forecasters that a recent string of strong economic data would push the central bank to raise the interest rates again. The central bank says excess demand in the economy appears to be more persistent than it had anticipated, citing a tight labor market, better than expected economic growth in the first quarter, as well as surprisingly strong consumption growth. It says it still expects inflation to fall to about 3% in the summer from the 4.4% April reading, but with core inflation still elevated, the concern about inflation getting stuck above 2% have increased. Responding to the interest rate hike, Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland says, "We are very close to the end of this difficult time." Let's listen in.
The Bank of Canada has predicted that inflation will fall to 3% this summer. We're not there yet, but we have made some real meaningful progress, which is being felt in people's lives. Getting through COVID was really hard. Getting through the deep recession caused by COVID was really hard. And today, getting through the global inflation caused by COVID and Putin's invasion continues to be hard. But there is no country in the world that is navigating these challenges more effectively than Canada, and there is no country in the world better positioned for a soft landing than Canada. We are very close to the end of this difficult time and to a return to low, stable inflation and strong, steady growth.
Y Media's team asked Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre what his reaction is on the rate hike, and he says, "I call it just inflation."
$500 billion of inflationary deficits by Justin Trudeau, who has doubled our debt and added more debt than all prime ministers combined, have bid up the cost of the goods we buy and the interest we pay. I call it just inflation. Well, you're right. Trudeau has created a financial mess that is destroying Canadian family finances. We have under Trudeau, our Canadian families are the most indebted of all the G7. We now have $2.2 trillion of household debt. That means household debt is as large as the entire Canadian GDP. And every time interest rates go up by 1 percentage point, it costs a full percentage point of GDP. They've gone up 4.5% in a year. But think about the impact as those interest rates filter through the entire economy. It's a 4.5% hit on our economy. What's the solution? Well, we have to reverse the policies that created the mess in the first place. We can't get out of the mess by doing the same thing that got us into it. So we have to bring down inflation and interest rates. How? By capping spending, cutting waste to balance the budget and lower interest rates and inflation. We have to get rid of the carbon tax to lower the cost of living. That will bring down inflation and interest rates so that Canadians can make their mortgage payments and keep their homes.